General Hospital spoilers will reveal. The latest developments on General Hospital have sparked a wave of intense discussion among fans, particularly after the explosive moment that finally brought Carly Spencer and Valentin Cassadine together in a way that many viewers had long anticipated. For months, the tension between these two characters had been quietly building beneath the surface, woven into their conversations, their strategic alliances, and the subtle emotional understanding that seemed to exist between them. The episode that aired on March 6 pushed that slow burn dynamic to its inevitable turning point when Carly and Valentin shared a heated kiss that soon escalated into a passionate encounter. The moment was not simply about physical attraction. It represented the culmination of a complicated emotional journey that had been unfolding gradually, leaving audiences both surprised and fascinated by how naturally the story seemed to arrive at this bold development. Now that Carly and Valentin have crossed that line, many fans are asking an obvious question that has dominated online discussions. Did their connection truly translate into undeniable chemistry, or was it simply the product of narrative tension finally finding its release? For some viewers, the answer feels obvious. The energy between Carly and Valentin had already hinted at something deeper long before their relationship turned physical. Their interactions often carried an undercurrent of mutual curiosity and respect, qualities that are rarely present in Carly's more turbulent romantic history. Valentin, with his calculated charm and mysterious emotional depth, seemed to understand Carly in a way that few characters ever have. That understanding created a sense that when the moment finally came, it would not feel forced or out of place, but instead like the natural evolution of a complicated bond. The progression toward this moment did not happen overnight. For quite some time, the show carefully placed Carly and Valentin in situations that allowed their dynamic to develop gradually. Sometimes they were simply exchanging witty remarks in quiet corners, sharing guarded smiles near the warmth of a fireplace, or discussing plans in the dim atmosphere of the attic, where secrets and schemes often unfold in Port Charles. Those scenes might have appeared casual on the surface, yet they carried a distinct emotional charge. The writers seem to understand that the most powerful romantic developments often begin with subtle gestures rather than dramatic declarations, and Carly and Valentin's relationship benefited from that slow, deliberate pacing. What made the shift toward intimacy particularly compelling was the way it transformed their connection into something far more complex than it had been before. Prior to this moment, Carly and Valentin's interactions were built on strategic cooperation and a sense of mutual intrigue. However, once they shared that intimate encounter, the emotional stakes immediately deepened. Their relationship no longer exists solely within the realm of clever conversations and shared plans. Instead, it now carries the vulnerability and unpredictability that comes with crossing a deeply personal boundary. That shift has created an entirely new layer of tension that could shape their storyline moving forward. Fans have been especially vocal on social media about the chemistry displayed in these scenes, and much of that praise has been directed toward the actors themselves. Laura Wright and James Patrick Stewart have spent years bringing their respective characters to life, but their performances together have taken on a new intensity as the storyline has evolved. Viewers have pointed out that the two actors seem to understand the emotional rhythm of their scenes, allowing each moment to feel authentic rather than exaggerated. Their ability to convey both restraint and passion has played a significant role in making the storyline resonate with audiences. Throughout the arc leading up to this moment, Wright and Stewart consistently demonstrated a remarkable ability to balance tension with emotional nuance. Even when Carly and Valentin were engaged in strategic discussions or navigating complicated alliances, there was always an unspoken emotional layer beneath their interactions. That subtle connection became especially evident once the storyline pushed them toward a romantic turning point. When the tension finally broke and their relationship became physical, it did not feel like an abrupt shift, but rather the natural release of emotions that had been simmering quietly beneath the surface for a long time. Now that the story has taken this daring step, the future of Carly and Valentin's relationship feels more uncertain and intriguing than ever. Their connection has clearly moved beyond flirtation and strategic partnership, yet the complicated world of Port Charles rarely allows relationships to remain simple for long. The consequences of their decision could ripple outward in unpredictable ways, potentially affecting alliances, loyalties, and personal struggles across multiple storylines. Whether this pairing ultimately becomes one of the show's most compelling romances or leads to unexpected heartbreak remains to be seen, but one thing is certain. The moment Carly and Valentin gave into temptation has permanently changed the dynamic between them, ensuring that viewers will continue watching closely to see what happens next. The aftermath of Carly Spencer and Valentin Cassadine's passionate encounter has quickly become one of the most talked about moments among General Hospital fans. Reactions have been anything but uniform. While some viewers were clearly uncomfortable with the intimate bedroom scene and questioned whether the pairing truly fits the long-term direction of the characters, others have embraced it enthusiastically. Across social media platforms such as X, Facebook, and fan forums, discussions have exploded with passionate opinions. Some fans argue that the scene added a bold new layer to the storyline and showcased the undeniable tension that had been building between Carly and Valentin for months. Others believe the development risks complicating relationships that were already fragile. This divide in fan reaction only highlights how powerful the moment was, because it managed to provoke strong emotions on both sides of the audience. For those who support the pairing, the intimacy between Carly and Valentin felt like the inevitable outcome of a connection that had been growing quietly beneath the surface. Their scenes together had long been filled with subtle emotional currents, and many viewers believed that those moments hinted at something deeper waiting to emerge. The bedroom encounter simply brought those feelings into the open. Supporters of the storyline have pointed out that the scene did not feel rushed or random. Instead, it appeared to be the culmination of months of storytelling that gradually positioned the two characters closer together. From their strategic conversations to their unexpected moments of vulnerability, the foundation for their connection had already been laid long before they crossed that final line. However, the episode airing on March 9 promises to explore the emotional consequences of that decision in greater depth. After the intensity of their encounter, Carly and Valentin will finally have a moment to pause and breathe, allowing the reality of what they have done to settle in. The immediate adrenaline of the moment will give way to a quieter, more reflective atmosphere where both characters must confront their feelings. They will likely question whether giving in to temptation was a genuine expression of their connection or simply a mistake born from tension and circumstance. For characters who are both known for their calculated thinking and emotional complexity, this moment of reflection could prove to be just as dramatic as the encounter itself. Complicating matters even further is the fragile alliance that has existed between them. Carly and Valentin's relationship has never been simple. Much of their connection has been built on strategy, shared secrets, and an understanding of the dangerous world surrounding them in Port Charles. Crossing the line into intimacy risks altering that balance entirely. What once functioned as a partnership rooted in mutual advantage could now become something far more unpredictable. Both Carly and Valentin will need to evaluate how this new emotional dimension affects their ability to trust each other and whether their alliance can survive the shift from calculated cooperation to personal entanglement. Just as the two begin to process the consequences of their actions, another powerful presence threatens to disrupt everything: Jason Morgan. His arrival inevitably changes the emotional landscape surrounding Carly. Jason has always been one of the most significant figures in her life, someone whose loyalty and connection to her run deeper than almost anyone else's in Port Charles. The mere possibility of him learning about Carly's night with Valentin introduces a new layer of tension. Jason's presence forces Carly to confront not only what happened, but also how her choices might affect the people closest to her. With Jason now part of the unfolding drama, Carly finds herself in a position where she must justify the decisions she has made. Whether she chooses to defend her actions or struggles to explain them, the emotional stakes are bound to rise. Valentin, meanwhile, may find himself navigating unfamiliar territory as well, realizing that his relationship with Carly is no longer confined to strategic maneuvering. The collision of these relationships creates a complicated web of loyalty, attraction, and potential conflict. As these dynamics continue to unfold, the storyline promises to push Carly, Valentin, and Jason into emotionally charged territory that could reshape their connections in ways none of them fully anticipated. Valentin and Carly are undeniably the kind of complicated pairing that often sparks the most intense reactions in the world of long-running soap operas. Their personalities alone suggest that stability was never going to be the defining characteristic of their relationship. Carly has always been a character driven by fierce loyalty, emotional instincts, and an almost fearless willingness to protect the people she loves, even when it leads her into dangerous territory. Valentin, on the other hand, is a man shaped by strategy, secrecy, and a lifetime of navigating power struggles. When two individuals with such strong and contrasting emotional instincts become involved with each other, the result is rarely calm or predictable. Yet in soap storytelling, that kind of volatility can also create the most fascinating relationships. The very qualities that make a couple seem risky often become the reasons viewers remain captivated by them. Soap history has shown countless times that messy relationships can sometimes evolve into the most unforgettable ones. Characters who challenge each other emotionally often create deeper storytelling than couples who exist in perfect harmony. Carly and Valentin embody that kind of dynamic perfectly. Their connection is built not just on attraction, but also on a mutual understanding of danger and survival in Port Charles. Both of them have experienced betrayal, loss, and the heavy weight of complicated family legacies. Because of that shared history of emotional battles, their relationship carries a certain intensity that feels authentic within the world of the show. Even when their alliance seems unstable, it also feels strangely believable, as if both characters recognize something familiar in the other's struggles. The passionate turning point between them has therefore become a major subject of conversation among viewers. Some fans are fascinated by the idea that Carly and Valentin finally allowed themselves to cross the line after months of tension and unspoken attraction. Others remain uncertain about whether this step represents the beginning of something meaningful or merely a moment of emotional vulnerability that could lead to regret. The scene itself carried a level of intensity that many viewers felt had been building gradually through their previous interactions. What made it so compelling was not simply the physical aspect of the moment, but the emotional release that accompanied it. For characters who often maintain control and guard their feelings carefully, giving into such a moment created a sense of dramatic vulnerability. Naturally, fans are still debating whether the time Carly and Valentin spent together truly delivered the kind of explosive chemistry that soap audiences love to see. For some viewers, the scene was undeniably charged with energy, driven by the tension that had been simmering between them for so long. Others interpreted it more cautiously, wondering whether their connection might prove more strategic than romantic in the long run. Yet even those who remained skeptical acknowledged that the moment added a powerful new dimension to their storyline. It pushed both characters into unfamiliar emotional territory and forced them to confront feelings that neither of them may have fully expected to surface. Part of what makes this development so intriguing is the uncertainty that now surrounds their relationship. Carly and Valentin are not characters who exist in isolation. Their lives are deeply intertwined with other powerful figures in Port Charles, and every decision they make has ripple effects throughout the community. Any romantic involvement between them immediately raises questions about loyalty, alliances, and long-standing emotional bonds. That tension ensures that their connection cannot remain simple for long. Instead, it becomes another unpredictable thread woven into the larger tapestry of drama that defines General Hospital. According to upcoming hints from the show, the passion between Carly and Valentin is only the beginning of a much larger storm. The two characters are expected to face new shocks and emotional upheavals that could test their fragile connection in ways neither of them anticipated. As secrets continue to surface and other characters become entangled in the consequences of their choices, the path ahead promises to be anything but smooth. For viewers who enjoy complex relationships filled with emotional twists, this storyline may only be entering its most dramatic phase. Carly and Valentin have taken a bold step into uncertain territory, and the challenges waiting ahead may determine whether their connection becomes a powerful alliance or another heartbreaking chapter in the unpredictable history of Port Charles.